Thank for this hearing. It was great to work with Mr. Latatu and the IoT Working Group, 21 members that had hearings in advance. We're trying to get educated before we pass legislation, which isn't necessarily how we usually operate. But this is a huge opportunity with the Internet of Things. You know, McKinsey and Company did a study and says that it can be between $4 and $11 trillion annually by 2025. So that's really quite extraordinary. My colleagues have already spoken about what many of these opportunities are, and also Ranking Member Schakowsky, I think, pointing out some of the implications that we have to contend with labor is really, really important for all of us to keep in mind. But I'll just give one example. In Vermont, there's brutal pressure on our dairy farmers now. The price is down, the costs are up, and technology is helping some of those farmers hang on. And Mangan Brothers Dairy Farm in East Fairfield, Vermont, has a computerized internet-based milking system that's really been helpful to them. They installed a milking parlor about 2 decades ago. And now what happens when the cow comes in, they have a pedometer on their leg. And as soon as the cow crosses the threshold of the milking parlor, the sensor picks up which cow it is and relays the information to the computer. And all the statistics about the cow's movements and body temperature and other pertinent information is sent to the computer. And it's even relevant for when the breedings are done, just based on activity spikes. It also gives them a report at the end of every milking day with respect to the salt content, and that's an indicator that allows the farmers to take steps to avoid diseases. So it's a big deal in terms of productivity for them, and it is made possible by the Internet of Things. And just the last point in my last few seconds, the only way we're going to have the Internet of Things in rural America is to have broadband in rural America, and that's another enormous challenge we have, and it's woefully underserved. So we can talk all we want about the Internet of Things, but unless we have broadband, it's not going to happen. So I yield back and thank my colleagues for the time.
The gentleman yields back, and I just want to say just briefly, I really appreciate